Good evening. You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Saraya Mia. Almost half of SPM students from the 2021 session chose not to further their studies. This was revealed by Education Minister Fadlina Siddiq, who said that out of nearly 180,600 SPM students, 48.74% opted not to pursue further education.
Meanwhile, Fadlina said 115,939 SPM graduates, representing 35.16% of the intake, had made the same decision in 2020. She said her ministry is implementing personal development and vocational education plans to raise awareness among students about the importance of education. Fadlina added that school counsellors have been updated on current career trends to provide students with the best guidance for their potential career paths.
The mechanism on how targeted subsidies will be implemented in the country is 75% complete, with just a few issues remaining. Deputy Finance Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Mazlan said this would be presented to the Cabinet and could be announced during the tabling of the 2024 budget.
Keputusan itu secara prinsip, secara dasar sudah ada. Bagaimana kaedah detailnya belum dapat lagi diputuskan. Sama ada menggunakan kad pengenalan, sama ada menggunakan kad khas, sama ada menggunakan sisi kereta, belum diputuskan. Tetapi itu di antara perkaranya lah. Sama ada menggunakan senarai M40, B40, T20, itu antara perkara yang belum diputuskan.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim on Monday said those who fall under the T20 category would no longer receive subsidies for electricity or Hajj.
Provisions for state funding of political parties should be included in the proposed political funding bill. According to Wong Chen, chairman of the All-Party Parliamentary Group Malaysia, said state funding is an essential element for democratic practice and is crucial in the fight against corruption at party level.
The Subang MP said that some lawmakers have seen the political financing law drafted by the previous government and found that state funding was not included in the bill.
Dan kita dah started projek untuk going on the ground, town hall meeting, jumpa rakyat supaya kita boleh explain why it is important untuk membuat state funding. Ya, saya faham banyak mengundi-undi rakyat-rakyat, dia ingat kita orang politik ni semua kaya, dah cukup duit. It's not true. Kalau kita tak buat state funding, Datuk Sri, Tan Sri Tun ni akan buat donation to the party that will be very, very detrimental to fighting corruption in the country.
Malaysia currently has no laws governing political donations. Wong Chen urged the government to quickly bring the bill to Parliament as soon as October this year or March 2024 at the latest.
Meanwhile, the number of child marriage cases has decreased by 19% in 2021. Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri said that there were 1,086 underage marriage cases in Malaysia in 2021, compared to 1,354 cases in 2020. Of the cases in 2021, Nancy said there were 1,001 Bumiputra, 36 Chinese, 4 Indians and 45 from other ethnic groups. Of the total, 962 were Muslims and 124 were non-Muslims. Nancy added that the government has implemented various initiatives as part of the National Strategic Plan to address the root cause of child marriage from 2020 to 2025. These include legislation, education, sexual and reproductive health awareness campaigns, and socio-economic support systems. The government will allocate 1.48 million ringgit to the search and rescue efforts for Malaysian climber Muhammad Hawari Hashim, who is currently missing on Mount Everest. Youth and Sports Ministry Secretary General K. Nagulendran says the funds will be channeled to the Altitude Exploration Club to assist in the search before it must cease on May 28th.
Pergunungan Everest akan tutup pada 29 Mei. Jadi kita ada sampai 28. Sebab 28 semua kena turun. So this period is very critical, very crucial. Jadi kerajaan berpandangan sedangkan saudara AWANI lah seorang OKU, kita kena go all out to bantu dia lah untuk dibawa pulang.
The search for Hawari has also been expanded to include the climbing route in Tibet. According to Nagulendran, Everest will only be reopened next year after the May 28th deadline. This is due to adverse weather conditions on the mountain, which could endanger the SAR team. Hawari, who is hearing impaired, went missing during a descent from Camp 4 on May 19th, after successfully reaching the summit of Everest the day before.
Netflix will start charging a fee of 13 ringgit a month for users who share passwords but do not reside in the same household as the account holder. In a statement, the video streaming service says an account is only for use by one household, and that will begin sending emails to subscribers who share their accounts.
Subscribers who wish to share their account with someone outside the household will have to opt for an extra member slot. The account owner will then be responsible for paying the additional membership fee. The crackdown on password sharing was previously limited to Latin American countries, but has now been expanded to over 100 nations, including Malaysia. Earlier this year, Netflix revealed that more than 100 million households were sharing accounts, which it said impacted its ability to invest in producing new content.
We'll take a short break. Stay with us.
Itu bukan cara nak nyanyi, adik. Gillette Flexi Vibe, kepala fleksibel. Cukup sekali terus licin. Cukup sekali terus licin, tak kecoh. Gillette Flexi Vibe.
The nights are warm and days are hotter. With the likelihood of El Nino prolonging all the way until September, is Malaysia prepared? We speak to President of Association of Water and Energy Research Malaysia, Piara Pakaran, on our preparedness for the extended dry season.
If you look at the northern states now, the dry season just started and some of the dams are running low. In Kelantan, you're having some water supply problems. So this is the level of preparedness. My only concern is that the prediction that El Nino's formation probability is very high during September onwards. If indeed El Nino forms, the actual huge impact will be seen close to a year after. See, what happens is that when El Nino fully forms, it reduces rainfall. But El Nino is good for states like California because they receive more rain. For us, it's on the opposite side. We will receive lesser rain. And those part of this country which is facing dry season will have a more drier situation. So the situation is that when El Nino forms, it reduces water flow, the rainfall. And when the rainfall reduces over a longer period of time, when we face normal monsoons next year, we are going to be impacted. That's how El Nino gives its impact. So it's not that when El Nino comes, then only we start preparing. No, when there is a prediction, we need to look at all our water storage facilities. We need to look at, are we reaching out to the rural areas, the suburban areas where they don't have service reservoirs. Every time peak hour, they don't get enough water or they have very low water pressure. And if they are located in the end pipe or towards the elevated zones, they won't have water at all during peak hours.
With El Nino looming, panic consumption can be detrimental when water supplies are low. Piara Pakaran suggests a color-coded system as an early warning for residents to identify how best to deal with water shortages.
The only zone we need to be quite careful is that how are we communicating the information to the public? Do not cause panic consumption. In one of our example solution, we actually asked the government to do color coding, which means you look at your raw water levels and you look at your supply system. that particular treatment plant is actually supplying to Wish Taman and so forth. Now, if it comes to, we suggested green, yellow, orange, red, and brown. So that goes to non-severe to severe condition. Now, if you are at yellow, maybe some rural area is impacted. So the water company must know how to communicate to these rural communities. So if you have a system, not only in a particular state, but a system that is actually throughout the country, when you say it's yellow for this region, people should know what it is. Everybody consume water. The water in the service reservoir, the main one, will start to drop. And it won't have enough time to fill up. And if that panic consumption continues for a week, you will have water shortages in some areas. There's not going to be water supply. That is what we have seen in 2013, 2014, 2015 in Klang Valley. So if El Nino comes and a prolonged dry season, you will see it throughout the country.
On to global news. The number of people living in modern slavery has risen sharply in the last 5 years. According to the latest Global Slavery Index, 50 million people are trapped as victims of modern slavery, 10 million more than in 2018.
According to a report by Walk Free, a human rights organization, North Korea and Eritrea have the highest rates of modern slavery in the world. The new estimates show that slavery is still occurring at scale across the world. 6 of the 10 countries with the largest estimated numbers of victims are G20 nations: India, China, Russia, Indonesia, Turkey, and the US. The report said the situation is deteriorating against a backdrop of increasing and more complex armed conflicts. The COVID-19 pandemic, intense weather events, and rising inflation have also fueled the increase of modern slavery. Modern slavery includes forced labor, debt bondage, forced marriage, and human trafficking.
Controversial Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is to announce his 2024 presidential nomination in an online appearance with Twitter's CEO Elon Musk. He will be joining former President Donald Trump in a growing list of Republicans seeking to unseat Democratic President Joe Biden. DeSantis' team confirmed that he will make the announcement during the interview on Twitter, scheduled for 6 a.m. on Thursday Malaysian time. Musk said the conversation would be unscripted and the audience would be able to ask questions in real time. DeSantis' rising profile among Republicans and fundraising prowess make him the biggest threat to Trump's hopes of becoming the Republican nominee for the White House again. The 44-year-old has made a national name for himself by opposing many of the measures advocated by the U.S. government to prevent the spread of COVID-19, such as opposing mask and vaccine mandates. DeSantis' divisive cultural issues have endeared him to conservatives. He has expanded gun rights in Florida, defunded diversity programs, banned books and class discussions on gender identity, and more recently, he signed a law banning abortions at 6 weeks. Greece's president will elect a caretaker prime minister to form a government that will lead the country to a repeat election on June 25th. This comes after last Sunday's inconclusive vote, which saw the New Democracy Party triumph but fall short of majority. The party led by PM Kyriakos Mitsotakis stormed to victory, winning 146 seats in the 300-seat legislature. But he was unable to form a coalition with 2 other parties to get a majority, forcing a second vote to be called. Mitsotakis believes the repeat election will give his party the majority needed to rule alone. Opposition parties also turned down offers to seek a coalition, hoping to boost their ratings in a second poll. In Greece, if coalition talks fail, the president appoints a caretaker PM to lead the country to a repeat vote. That's all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Soraya Mia, and we'll see you again.